Hello.
You think your microphone's okay this time?
I know. I always feel like it
talk
is.
Think I have the
No,
mic
it's not that.
closer,
I'm just gonna have to talk better like this.
more crisp and clear,
Yeah. They
concise?
say that you should always smile when you're talking.
Who says that?
Just if you have a phone job, like over the phone job, where you sound more nice.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
So I'm just gonna try to talk and smile the whole time because I think sometimes I could just go like this. And anyways, so anyway, Berkeley, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Just trying to get a little airtime. I just want a little moment with my dad.
Tyson has been getting all the airtime.
It looks like Tyson may be getting up here soon, so.
Yeah. All right. So
What's going on today?
I think we should do a reintroduction episode into each of who we are. Kind of just get back to the reason why we do this podcast. Like, why are we doing this?
Mhm.
Why do we take the time out of our busy days to do this? And I think we both, at the end of the day, just want to help people. And at the end of that day, it's like you are the most qualified to help the person you once were. And I think that goes along with your story and the things that you've been through. And I think every single person has a destiny that they were designed before they were born to live. And it's always trying to navigate and find your path back to that destiny, I think. So
you think that your path is predetermined before you ever get here?
Yeah.
So you think that your God is omnipotent?
Yeah.
Your God is all knowing and knows everything that before it happens
for everyone. But I don't think everyone sticks to that plan. I don't think he made for people to be homeless or addicts or, so it's our responsibility to do our best to stick to God's plan of what he made.
I could be better with my walk with God, or I could be closer. Maybe sometimes I steer away from the path, but I'm not sitting here saying that I'm right or that I'm got everything figured out between me and God. It's like, no, it's like I sin. I've done bad things, and I feel like I'm a good human being, and my heart is in the right place, and I have good intentions, and I think that the way that I live my life is more representative of anything that I could do. I could tell you all day long, hey, you believe in God? Are you a Christian? Like, it doesn't really matter what I think or what I ask. It's your personal relationship. It's your thing. So it's not for me to characterize anything. I think a lot of us Christians or whatever religion you want to pick, we go around and we're like, oh, are you this? Oh, you're not? Well, that's different. It's like, there's so many religions in this world. I'm not going to denounce that they're wrong.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I'm not also going to say that I'm a devout Christian because I'm not going to lie. I'm not a liar. I tell the truth, and I think that honesty and the truth shall prevail. So that is my cornerstone of everything is truth.
What do you define a devout Christian?
I'm someone that dedicates their life to Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, and they put that on everywhere they go, and they live, breathe, and die that way, and they carry that cross everywhere that they go, so to speak.
Okay, but how does living like that look to you? Because you're saying you don't live like that.
No, I don't go to church every Sunday. I don't read my Bible enough. I don't, do any of those things like someone who practices a religion should. If you're in practice with the religion, you should sit with your Bible. You should talk with God. You should read your scriptures.
I definitely think I don't really believe in a religion. I believe in just a relationship.
With Christianity is a religion. So if you're a Christian or you believe in Jesus, then that's what you are as a Christian. So you got to pick a religion.
There's a difference between religion and a relationship. Like, I feel like you, maybe not so much right now, but I feel like I I'm not super strict by any means as far as my religion, but I believe in God. I always try to pray about things. I like kind of like you. I feel like I'm a good person. I have good morals, good values. I don't do anything harmful or I don't murder, steal, but I would not say that I, again, am like you, super devoted to the religion of Christianity. But I do feel like there's been parallels in my life where maybe this is kind of where you are right now, like looking at your life and what you just said at the beginning of, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Do you feel like there is a direct correlation between how your life is going and the amount of time, energy, and effort you put into your faith or your walk or relationship with, for you, God?
I think it's more so in the fact of, like what you say, is acceptance. So basically, it would be more so of the letting go. So, like letting go and surrendering, as you guys would call it, or whoever would call it, you're surrendering your life to Christ. You're surrendering, you're giving up. You're saying, I give up and I'm giving this all to you, and I'm letting you take the reins and take control. Right.
There's power in knowing that you cannot do everything yourself and letting a higher power support and guide you. I don't think like, you still have to do the work and the action, but it's kind of like surrendering and saying, I can't do this all on my own. And then always being aware of like guidance throughout the day, throughout the week.
So what are you asking? You're asking like, you're asking if my lifestyle is matching how much I'm devoting into my religion and to my faith. So if I'm putting more time and effort into my faith, is my life more rewarding or more
abundant
or special? I would say every time I go to church and I leave, I feel good. I would say it's a good feeling. So I think that's why people go there, is to a sense of community. Yeah, it's a good place to be. So I would say it's not a bad thing to lean into your faith or to lean into whatever it is that you believe. It's way better than the alternative, which is having no hope, no faith. So yeah, it's important and imperative that you do find faith and you do find something to guide you, or something to put your love and energy and devotion maybe to or towards. But
so when people aren't doing that or you aren't doing that, what is the contrary?
You're not giving love or receiving love. Usually it's probably stagnant. Like the first rule of thermodynamics is like energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but only transferred. So the energy's got to go somewhere. So
I guess I'm asking this question because I personally think that you tend to rely on yourself for everything. When you are saying, no, I'm not going to believe that anything else can help me. It's like, I can do it all on my own. And I feel like that's a very draining, tired energy that eventually runs out. So I guess, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think your life is going or the way you want it to go?
I'd say it's probably 8 out of 10. I'd say the things that I admire and the things that I put value on are different than what other people put value on. I've always admired somebody that has a nice physique, somebody that's put time and effort into achieving a great aesthetic physique. So I've always been attracted to that since I was young. And I've always thought how cool it is that you can take science and you can take hard work and literally change the way your body looks. And so that's one thing that's always been important to me, is putting in that physical exertion and then reaping the rewards of how you feel afterwards. And then the side effect is obviously looking decent too.
What else do you value and admire that you think is
I definitely value like people that are at peace, or people that don't need anything, people that are comfortable with who they are. It reminds me of this old man that his name was Deke Dodd. He was this he's an old rich oil man that used to sit up at the bar top when I was bartending back home, and I got to know this man. He was just a grumpy old man, no matter like who he was around. He just kind of came off that way, and but he was like that all the time. He didn't care if he was in front of his board members at a meeting. He didn't care if he he's just he's just a kind of a grumpy old man, and I like that he didn't break that character at all. That's just who he is. And so I like people that are their authentic selves, no matter who they're around. They don't change it up. They don't care if, all right, like this so and so is really important here. It's like, no, it's like I'm gonna be who I am, and I'm, comfortable with who I am. So that's how I'm gonna be and how I'm gonna behave.
Yeah, that's called wearing masks. Just around different people, different situations.
Yeah, I don't need to be benefited in any way by changing who I am. Like I told you from the beginning that I find my authenticity in the truth, and I know that I am basing everything off of that the truth shall prevail. So that's where my head's at, is that's what I'll stick with. Even if it bites me in the ass in the short term, I am basing my behavior off of the fact that in the end that the truth will prevail, even if in the short time it's hard on me.
Can you give an example of that? Like how is that? What in your current life do you think that is playing a factor? Like I'm doing this now, and the truth shall prevail. What in your current life?
Honestly, well, you can take me 5 years ago or 6 years ago. I've been working out. I've done a fitness show. I've got my trainer certifications. I've now helped dozens of people change their lives. Like, even if the truth is a bitter pill to swallow, it's like, you saw me handle my father's death. This is a very new thing. My dad died in November. I've handled it well. And when it comes on strong, and I let those feelings come and I deal with them, and then I let it go. I'm in touch and I'm in tune with it. So right now it might be hard for me to swallow some of the truths that happen, but I'm not going to deny it, because if I just try to shut it out and deny all these feelings right now, then it's just going to be hard later on down the road.
So you're saying it's best to
it's better
just process
to
everything.
grieve. Hopefully you can have a plan beforehand to hopefully process it better than something that just comes out of left field. If you have a little plan, you can be a little bit more prepared. Just like if you're going into a fight and you're fighting an opponent, hopefully you watch some videotape on that person that you're fighting, or hopefully that you know a little insight onto what those person's tendencies are, so that when the problem does present itself, you're able to handle it in a much more efficient way. Since I was a little kid, my rules were don't lie, don't cheat, and don't steal. Those 3 rules are very simple, and they're probably really hard for some people to stick with, but those have been my 3 rules since I was a little kid, and I'll try not to break them,
I think you've lived a noble life so far.
Of course, I'm loyal, honest, and trustworthy, and I think most of the people that are my friends or consider me a friend are lucky to have me, as I'm lucky to have them. So if I love you, or have love for you, you know it.
How did you come to be?
How did I come to be?
That.
My mom, my mom and my dad were in love at like 15 years old. My mom had me when she was 19, and my dad was 20. So they were kids that had kid. So I am the product of young kids being crazy, madly in love. That's what I am. I'm a product of their crazy love. Which, if you met my mom and dad and knew them when they were together and in the prime of their life, they were never two people that were more in love. My dad always told me that. He's like, Tyler, I know for a fact there's never been two people more in love than me and your mom, and you could just tell they're just, they were two peas in a pod, always,
crazy, but crazy in love.
Crazy. And they were both from small towns in Oklahoma. Mom's side had a little bit more money than my dad's side, but My great grandfather on my mom's side had started his own business from scratch. He started his own construction company and ended up becoming very successful and helped pave Route 66. And their slogan was they could pave a mile of road a day. So that was like a big thing back in the day. And so my mom had like a very I was gonna say easygoing upbringing. Her grandparents had money, but she didn't really know her father growing up, so I think that has been hard on my mom. Uh, Maybe not having her dad around and wishing that she had that special relationship. Whereas me and my dad were always super close, really tight knit. We were always you know able to tell each other everything, and I think I got a lot of who I am is obviously from my father. I think he just kind of allowed me to be this sensitive kind of guy. Maybe not raising a sissy, you know what I mean? Not raising a wuss of a man, but also knowing when to be compassionate. And I think you see a lot of young men that maybe are just kind of told to brush it off or to
Absolutely.
suck it up. And there's a time and a place for everything, so sometimes you do got to suck it up and you got to brush it off or walk it off or whatever. But there's other times when it's okay to console your child and make sure that they're all right and they see that you're there for them. Sometimes it's more important than anything. And yeah, no, they were always there for me, but they were young and feel like they had a lot of growing up themselves to do. So I'm just kind of a product of that, but I don't hold any hard feelings. I know their intentions were they did the best that they could and they were trying with what they had. And yeah, I'm like, I think I told somebody the other day, but I was like, I would really not trade my life for anybody that I know. And so I think that's how, it's like you're asking me what I think about my life. It's like, sure, I could have things better, or I could have accomplished other things, or I could have prepared myself better and, and in different things. But yeah, no, man, I wouldn't want anybody else's life over mine. I've got to do everything that I want to do, and I think you asked me a long time ago when we were in Colorado, it's like, what do you want, Tyler? What do you want? I'm like, I have to think about that question. Honestly, like I have to think about it because I've got everything that I've wanted. And I know that might sound crazy to some people, but it's like everything that I've written down or I've like tried for the most part, it's happened. So now it's bigger goals, bigger dreams, bigger things.
Was there ever a point in your life where you look back and you're like, I was not really doing so well or
Yeah.
not like engaging in the habits that you have now? I think,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right before I came out
I've
here to Florida,
seen
I was
pictures and I've heard stories.
like, what? Of me?
You telling me.
What was I doing?
There's just a period in your life where you weren't working out, you're eating like shit, you're partying all the time, you're driving 3 hours to go party, then drive 3 hours back.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
so
Say,
that's the Tyler that I'm trying to crack open because
retake
you're
it.
not you're just like, no, I've just been this way
You
my
could
whole life. I'm like, no, you haven't. You're not a perfect angel.
No, I'm not. But and that's the thing. It's like if you want to be a savage or you want to be a monster, you have to be capable of extreme violence and not utilize it. You have to be able to cause destruction but withhold from doing so.
So how did you harness that attribute?
Yeah. So
Because I do feel like you have that. I've never seen it, but I know you got it in you. Sometimes I'm like, man, I just want a fight to break out in the bar so I can just see what he could do.
fight anybody in the bar. I don't
Or
want to
somewhere.
I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want
I
to
know you don't want to. I just
and
want
that's
to
and
see it.
that's the when you see somebody like a UFC fighter or someone that is extremely at peace with themselves, they know what they're capable of. They know the destruction that they're capable of. And 99 times out of 100, they're not going to display physical harm because they know what it is they're capable of. It's like back in the day when people would say like, you want to fight or oh let's box or let's do this. I would literally cringe at wanting to do that because I literally don't want people to get mad or to get upset when we're doing that. you know what I mean, and freak out
Because they're losing?
because they're gonna get hurt or they're gonna get get mad and lose their cool. And so when I would wrestle friends or we would box or whatever, I would always keep it fun. Like always keep it fun, and I would never be aggressive and never really got hurt. So anyways, how I came to be able to channel this was there was a point in time in my life when I wasn't doing athletic things like I should. I wasn't training like I should. I wasn't playing basketball. I was in a funk. I was in a real bad funk. And it was because of some of the people I was surrounding myself with, some of the things that I had got involved in. And I remember I was really, really down, very emotional. And I remember one time I just had to go outside and I went outside and I just took off sprinting, like sprinting down the road. I know it sounds crazy, but it's like, what do you do when you're overloaded with emotion and it's like an overwhelming feeling? Instead of punching holes in the wall or going crazy, I just took off sprinting and exerting all that energy made me huff and puff and it relaxed me. And so I understood that harnessing that energy and putting it into something that would make me exhausted and feel better and calm down was like the natural way to do something. That was like the natural way to handle it. And not to say I haven't handled it in other ways, trying to mask pain through alcohol or weed, because I have. And sometimes that stuff will still pop up. And but the exerting the energy was the number one thing that I found was like, all right, this takes the edge off. This is what does it. And when you have like negative self-talk or these negative things in your mind, when you go in there and you kill the negative self-talk and you make yourself more prepared, and I just naturally fell into that progression of like, okay, I'm not going to stop running. I'm not stopping. Like, I'm going to go walk every day. And I got to this point where I built my endurance up so much that I started feeling better about myself. Like, I got over the hump, so to speak. And then once you get to a certain place, like, uh, where I just had to kind of maintain those healthy habits, whether it was working out every single day. One of the best things I ever did for myself at like 15 or 16, I would always take pre-workout, I would work out, and then I would take a protein shake every time I worked out. And just that little habit of doing that every time. Now when I work out years later, it's protein, boom, like workout, and then I know get that protein in.
So why was that the best thing you could have ever done?
Because all of a sudden, once I started adding that protein in, like I started seeing my muscles grow, I started losing a little bit of fat, I started changing. This is like a slow process, though. This isn't something that I just like changed. It was slow over time. I had to put it a lot of time by myself
So
to
when would you say that was?
when I moved, just a little bit before I moved out here to Florida. So like 2016, 17. 2017 is about when it started.
When
I started
you're,
having this shift a little
yeah.
bit.
So
I had a bunch of books. I started working out myself. I got a jump rope. I started jumping rope all the time. And then once my cardio started getting a little better and I could actually work out for longer periods of time. Everybody like thinks they want to go to the gym and lift a bunch of weight, and that's cool, but it's like my dad used to tell me when he would play basketball at the community center, there was a guy in there that would play with him, and he was a marathon runner. And my dad's like, might not be a great basketball player, but dang, this guy runs up and down the floor the whole time and just doesn't stop. And it's like, if you are in better cardiovascular shape, then all of a sudden everything else becomes easier.
So prior to you flipping that switch and starting to make those better changes in habits, how long were you engaging in what you would say, which was kind of in a funk and a rut, not hanging out with the right people?
Mm-hmm.
How long was that?
Probably from like at least 22 to 27 or 28. It was like 4 or 5 years in
That's
there.
a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long
It was just
time.
an alternative lifestyle to fitness. It was different.
What do you mean? Explain.
just staying up late, drinking, going to parties. And yeah, I remember right before I left Oklahoma, like even a few nights before, went out and saw everybody, saw my friends, went to one bar that was there, and I walked in and knew, like, I was with a girl that was my friend. We go in, I see a girl I used to work with. The girl I'm with, who's my friend, her ex is the bartender, and the girl I used to work with, now they're dating. And it was like all this small town stuff. And I just remember thinking, you know what? Not a lot of people here are working towards something, if that makes sense. There was only like a handful of people that I was friends with, that I was close with, that I'm like, you know what, they're making moves towards something. A lot of people were stagnant. They were like doing the same things on Wednesday nights and going to the same. And for me, I was like, this is like kind of like, I'm not getting out anything out of that anymore. There's no, maybe I used to get something out of it where, oh, I'm being seen or I'm seeing people and we're hanging out. But after you've been seen by everybody in Oklahoma City and you've seen everybody, then what? You know what, for real, then what's next? It's like
Got to move on to
you
bigger
gotta
and
have
better
you gotta
things.
have something to focus on.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was just getting that endurance up and getting somewhere where my network of people were chasing towards similar things.
Yeah. So you sent me a video earlier that I briefly watched about that guy, and he was just saying you kind of hustle, but not for yourself. You do it for other people. You do it to leave a mark on the next generation. When I am reflecting on what am I doing, who am I trying to help, the statement that I say to myself is you are most qualified to help the person you once were.
Right.
So when you think about that statement, who do you think of, and who am I helping now that I once was, that is going through that same journey as I was?
A few of my friends that I was.
No, not specifically, just what is
specifically that a few of my friends that I was running around with in those circles that they have not put the 6 or 7, 8 years of dedication into their physical self like I have. Now they're seeking my advice because they need help in that department. And I've 7 or 8 years like really into that physical athleticism and exploring that and what it looks like. So now they're seeking my advice.
Besides physical, what else do you think you can help people with? When we met, I feel like you have not changed a lot since we met. I feel like I've probably changed a lot since we met.
You think so?
I think.
You think in comparison that you've changed more?
But not like in a bad way. Not like in a, oh, you're not changing. Just
have to say that.
I feel like you've just kind of been solid, and then you watched me kind of just run around like a chicken with his head.
I drew this I drew this diagram for you a long time ago when we first met, and it's still true.
What does it say?
And my progression of me, I'm like this, right? My progression's like I'm just barely slowly getting up, and you're going. Yours is like spinning in circles while you're going up.
When did you do that?
I drew it for you on a piece of paper. Like I could show you the diagram about how much energy we use. Like my energy is like, I'm like barely using any, and I'm going this way, and you're using a lot.
Yeah.
And you're going in circles, and you're using 10 times as much energy, but we're going at the same pace. If that makes sense. I'm like slowly, and you're going, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I don't remember that diagram, but that's probably because I was just too busy just running around my head.
Reading others. Yeah, you're paying attention to something else. What's that? What?
I'm doing 5 other things.
Yeah. Which isn't bad. I think we're kind of like, the yin and the yang, I say about that. It's like we're one way and I'm one way and you're another way, but we're very similar in some ways. So
yeah, I definitely
think sometimes
each other.
I think you're just a little bit more gung ho about stuff than I am sometimes. But also I've realized, and I've had an epiphany, that the fact that you care more, typically I would say you care more about like certain things, and I tend to like, I don't really give a shit about that. And I think me not giving a shit about those things is a defense mechanism for me. And I've just now like recently learned that stuff is like, when I don't give a shit about it, it's like I don't have to have feelings about it. So therefore I don't have to put any attention into it. And that just saves me time and effort to, it's like
That's good.
out of sight, out of mind. So whereas just because I don't give a shit about it doesn't mean that it's not important to you. So instead of me saying, I'm going to deny this before I even really consider it, it's like, okay, well, I probably should give a shit a little bit about things. And
So you think I've helped you give a little bit more shits?
I think that you've shown me that it is important to care about the things that you're involved in,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think earlier when you were saying how I asked you, what do you want? And then you were like, you didn't say this in that same conversation, but you in this conversation, you said, you've gotten everything you wanted. To me, I was like, but you haven't gotten very much.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So then I think in my mind, I'm like, we gotta raise the bar a little
yeah,
bit,
yeah, and that's understandable.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think that's where we've kind of had our push and pull of like, all I want from you is to see a little bit more caring, I guess, of
yeah,
giving shits
right.
about things.
And I also, on the flip side of that, your desires and the things that you long for is also what's causing sometimes
Right.
unsettledness and unhappiness. And when we met, I saw a lot of unsettledness in you.
Yeah, I had a lot of unsettledness.
Very unsettled.
Giving just the part of the journey that I was on. I think we met at a good time, but I was I was going through a lot when we met. I was going through a lot. And you, like I said, were kind of like this solid post. You'd had your time, you'd had your alone time, you've done the work. And I was like just now coming up on that, where I was still getting out of things I needed to get out of and finding myself again and having that love and respect for myself. And I'm trying to be with you and you're fun. And like, I think I did find like peace in that you had that and I didn't.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm like, okay, well, I really like him, but also I'm a freaking whack job right now.
I knew that you had been through your stuff, but I was at such a good place, and I was at such a good place in my own self and peace that I was ready to share that with somebody else. So I think you've completely calmed down a lot.
Yeah, I'd say I'd calm down for sure.
Like when I first met you, I feel like you're going a little stir crazy of like, what's next? I need to, and it's like appreciating what you have is a good start. Not to say that we can't have desires and we can't long for other things and we can't strive for greatness and other things, but if it was all taken away from us right now, like, and that was it, like, well, what do you have now? Like, I got it pretty good now too. Like a lot of people could look at my life and say, dude, he lives in paradise, got a good job, he's got good clients, it's pretty good.
I definitely have to stop and really appreciate just there's really nothing wrong in my life. And I think people tend to just try to find the wrong. Like what's going wrong with my life right now? I used to do that. I'm like, okay, 8 things are going right, but the 2 that are going wrong, I got to really focus on those. And so now I just try to focus on what's going right. Like
sometimes you just reassert what's wrong over and over, and then you're just focused on what's wrong and not what is going right. I mean, my life is exactly where it's supposed to be. My life is what it's supposed to be. Like I told you, I wouldn't trade my life for anybody else's. I'm not making that shit up. I'm not making that up because I want you guys to think I'm cool and I did everything. Like I don't care. Like I'm over like trying to be cool. I'm over trying to impress anybody. I don't care about that. Like I'm telling you, the reason why I love my life is because I love my life. Like I told you in Colorado when I said I have everything I ever wanted. I'm abundant. I live my life from a place of abundance, not from a place of need. And I wasn't lying.
So what would you want young men in their early 20s to understand or
People
know?
and I've told this kid in this gym, this kid Vincent, who was like 17 years old. This good looking young man in the gym working out. Maybe he's 19, maybe he's a little bit older than that. And they're lifting, and I'm like, bro, you're doing good, man. You're looking good. You know, keep it up. And like, man, your physique's crazy, dude. I told him, I said, you know what? I said, how old are you? I can't remember, it was 17, 19. So I said, think about it. I'm 35. And I said, keep doing this every day and keep coming in here. You'll go way past me, dude.
Mhm.
Like, hey, Woody, talking. And I said,
It's fine.
the thing that young people, hey, what? The thing that young people don't get it is they have a fear of missing out. I think maybe you or your generation of these younger people, they all have a fear of missing out. I had an epiphany at one time where it made me realize, oh, you guys are all bored. Like, you guys are all bored. Like, everybody is bored. They don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know how to handle themselves. They don't have hobbies. They don't have passions. They don't play sports. They don't draw. They don't read. It's like, what do you guys even really do? I know what you do. You watch everybody else's life on your phone. You're living through their eyes because you're seeing everything that everybody else is posting. Whereas if you're a young person, you're in the gym and you don't have your phone and you're working on yourself for an hour or two, you are light years beyond everybody else around you. So for young people, I would tell you, don't have a fear of missing out. You are where it's happening. You are actually where time comes from. You are that special thing. You're not going and looking for anything special because you are it. Like, whatever is, you are the walking party. Wherever you go, that is where it's happening. You're not going to arrive somewhere and all of a sudden that is the place to be. The place to be is where you are. So that's the life lesson. Don't have a fear of missing out. Create the place where you are the place to be. And then when you make that place the place to be, then wherever you go, there you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can control this little area, this little 10, 12 feet. You can smash some burpees. You can do push-ups. You can read. You can write. You can draw. You can sing. You can, play the drums. You can do all that little thing right here in this little area to keep yourself occupied and happy. Then you can really take that anywhere.
Yeah.
So no matter where you go, there you are. Take that with you. Take that peace of mind with you.
I think one of the things that you and I both do individually and now through our business together is like we help people initiate that journey. People get so lost and like, I don't know where to start. Like, where do I start with this? It's just all so overwhelming. So what is like one tip that you would say for someone to start being able to do that?
Yeah, I would say walk around the block. I would say walk.
With nothing.
I would put on a podcast. I would
say with nothing.
Put on Jordan Peterson. I would put on music. I would put on Bible verses. I would put on meditation, and I would walk, and that's it. And I would walk until you get tired. And when you get tired, sit down. And when you get thirsty, drink some water. And then the next night or the next morning, try it again. And that walking will put you where you need to be as far as getting things in order in your mind. When you're walking or you're on long walks, things will start falling into order because as you're moving and you're moving towards something, things will align themselves in importance, like how important things are. Once you're like walked several miles or ran several miles, let's say you're in a marathon and you're running, when you're 8 or 10 miles into that run, you realize what's important in your life at the time. That ain't important. I don't need that shirt. It's, I just got to do this one thing. That's actually all I need to do. Or if you can walk and you're able to walk, go the distance, definitely get out there and put one foot in front of the other. Starts with walking. Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of the man that you are.
Thanks, babe.
Proud of the man that you are. And I know you've probably been like that your whole life. And glad that you've calmed me down a lot. We've helped each other in different ways.
Yeah, we have. That's what couples, good couples should do is they should lift each other up.
Yeah.
You've definitely been there for me, and I hope I can continue to be there for you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for the convo.
Oh, look at my pretty feet. Dad's feet are nasty compared to mine.
He's so
I
cute.
got these basketball feet, and he's got these pretty little
They're perfect.
pretty little precious feet.
They're perfect. All right. Well, catch up on the next episode.
All right, we'll record here in another couple hours.
Love you.
Love you.